man's heart is full of hate. He butters, cries, and a dark shadow falls over this troll. From the ashes of a once great fandom has risen a meme, an LOL that must be liked. We look to the airwaves for a vindicator, someone to strike fear in the dark basement of the parents who created him. The battle between fan and smart has begun. With a head on his shoulders stands the smart fan, a speaker of truths, with a voice of silence and a radio show of justice. This is Ring Rust.
So let's get right into the Hell in a Cell preview for this coming Sunday on the WWE Network from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. So the first match they have here for the pre-show, they have a six-man tag match, which sees Dolph Ziggler, Antonio Cesaro, and Adrian Neville taking on Alexander Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett in a six-man tag match. Because it's better than having three singles matches? Possibly. I guess they wanted to do something with these six guys. Tay Long walked by and said, "Hey, I got an idea, player." "No, we don't want to hear from you." "Oh, I suddenly have an idea, though. Why don't we have a six-man tag match?" That's two better than whatever his idea was probably going to be. So, yeah. So who's going to win it? Probably the good guys, which, amazingly enough, Cesaro is now considered a good guy. Who knew? You are listening to Ring Rust REDUX on Jabronology TV. I didn't know she liked the Guess Who. Or was that just Burton Cummings? Anyway, that's not even the right song, but this is Fireball Mark Jabroni. You are listening to Ring Rust on 3.5 CHMR-FM. So, I guess just going by the way Wikipedia pages are usually set up for pay-per-views, they'll do the pre-show match, and then the match underneath it, listed at number 2, is actually expected to be the main event. So, and then it goes in descending order from there. So, I'm going to zip right to number 8. They got 8 matches listed here. I imagine they'll add 1 or 2 more. Or they'll do the reverse of what they did at the last pay-per-view and break up the 6-man tag into its 3 singles matches, because that's what they do. Anyway, so John Cena will be defending his United States Championship in a United States Open match. So it's not yet determined who's going to be facing him. Probably not going to be revealed until the match itself. And I'm hearing rumblings of there's 1 or 2 superstars who are coming back from injury. So it's entirely possible that's where they're going to stick those guys. Maybe. You never know. Well, I'm sure they'll come up with something. I'm sure they're not just going to throw Funaki at him or something. That would be kind of funny. "Hey, Funaki, you want to come back for one match?" "Sure, why not?" "It's against John Cena." Okay. For the U.S. title." "Oh. Well, I guess I kind of assumed I was going to lose anyway. Because that's what I do. As the number 1 SmackDown announcer. You haven't done that in like 10 years. Well. Also, as you can tell, I've totally lost my Japanese accent. Living in Texas for all these years. Y'all. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So next up, theoretically, now this also, of course, is theoretically the order of the matches, because the World Heavyweight title match is the third last match listed here, according to the order that they have listed here, but for, some would probably say, good reason. Setup time. We'll just leave it at that, setup time. It makes more sense to, just do the 2 matches that require a lot of setup at the end of the show, so that you just do the setup once and then you can break it down well after the show's over. So, yes, that was a DX joke. So, next up, we have the Intercontinental Championship match. Kevin Owens will be defending against Ryback I don't see Kevin Owens losing just yet. I could be mistaken, of course. I'm pretty sure I've been mistaken before, but I could be mistaken. I personally don't see it yet. Maybe at the next big one. What's the next big one? Survivor Series? Yeah, maybe at that one. Or, since they seem to like doing things like that on Raw, maybe on Raw the following night they'll have a title change. Or, I don't know. Maybe, once again, one of these returning superstars that they have coming back from injury or from whatever they're coming back from will potentially have a shot at, So anyway, we'll see how it turns out, but I foresee Kevin Owens successfully defending. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbranology TV. This is Fabo Mark Jabroni. You are listening to Ring Rust on 3.5 CHMR-FM. So next up, we have a tag team title match. The New Day, Big E Langston and or Kofi Kingston and or Xavier Woods will be defending their titles against the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. I like what they're doing with the whole any two of us can wrestle and we're still considered a tag team, especially since Xavier Woods is actually still injured. So if Xavier Woods is still injured, then it's probably the smartest thing to do is to keep him on the outside. Seems to be the smartest thing to do anyway, because he's the best talker of the three of them. And, Big E Langston's the muscle and Kofi Kingston's the high flyer. So they don't really need two high flyers. Xavier Woods he's not really a high flyer, is he? He's just sort of technical sort of wrestler. So that's how long it's been since he's wrestled. I don't remember what his style is. Well, hopefully he'll be back from injury soon. Hopefully he will be doing some wrestling. Though I and very many other actual smart fans, not what people call smart fans, but actual smart fans, like what he's doing because it's entertaining, it's getting him and his two teammates over, and it's progressing the match, what they're doing. He's creating a spectacle like a good heel manager is supposed to do. He's quite the effective Snidely Whiplash. So let's hope they keep that up and WWE doesn't decide, it's not working. It's like, well, are you using your eyeballs? Are you using your earballs? Are you using whatever other appendages you use to witness things? Because the fans seem to like us. Various fans like us, and the fans that aren't supposed to like us are booing us instead of just sitting on their hands. So, giving no reaction. So,
this is a great Jackatoon Slam and Wrestling News Radio on Ring Rust, CHMR 93.5 FM.
This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You were listening to Ring Rust. Oh, not 3.5 CHMR-FM. Pardon me while I adjust myself in my chair. Audibly, because the chair's there to squeak a bit. As you can probably tell by listening to the show, and we have good mics and chairs that squeak. Probably not a good combination, but hashtag college radio problems. Not really a problem. It's more of it's like, what are you going to do? Well, buy some oil, I guess. But anyway, back to Hell in a Cell preview for this coming Sunday from the Ka-Chunk Center in Los Angeles, California. If you work in an office, maybe. Well, I don't think do staplers come that big anymore? Like the really, really big ones? Like it requires a special, handle thing to push down on it? That's what I was going for, the Ka-Chunk was the big ones. Not just the ones that everyone kept taking from Buddy in Office Space. Not that size. That's what would probably be considered a medium size one. I'm talking to really big ones that go Ka-Chunk anyway. So, onward and upward. So I'm officially halfway through, at least match-wise. There's 8 matches, and I've previewed 4 of them. So let's keep rolling. So I'll have 5 done before the top of the hour, and then I may even be done before the 3-way dance-off, and then have to twiddle my thumbs for the better part of 20 minutes. Musically, of course. But anyway. So the Divas Championship is on the line next, as Charlotte defends against Nikki Bella. Don't think she's gonna lose it just yet, much like Kevin Owens. I don't think. Well, you never know, though. Depends on whether or not WWE thinks Charlotte's a good Divas champion. or if they think she'd be better chasing the belt than actually holding the belt, because that's something I keep hearing. They prefer to have a Dudley Do-Right chasing the belt and a Snidely Whiplash holding it than vice versa. So, I don't know. We'll see. I foresee, though, for the time being, that Charlotte's going to retain her title. You were listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And he said he's going to channel Mad Dog Vachon in his next album, LOL. So back to the Hell to Sell preview for this coming Sunday on the WWE Network, or if one of your local movie theaters is showing it, I fully encourage you to go see it, because everything is better, especially wrestling, with other people. Unless you want to sit alone in your bedroom or your office or your, I don't know, bomb shelter, coffee shops, I don't know, ballet recitals. I don't know what time it is in your area where the pay-per-view comes on. So, the next match, how many have I got left? I got 3 left? Yes, I got 3 left. So, on any other pay-per-view would-be main event match, for the World Heavyweight title, see Seth Rollins defending against Kane. Interesting stipulation, though. He's wrestling as Demon Kane, and if Demon Kane loses, Corporate Kane will be fired from being Director of Operations. Not that Demon Kane's going to go away, or, hold by that stipulation, although apparently Rey Mysterio's son Dominic was up for grabs during a match with Eddie Guerrero. I think it was a ladder match too, wasn't it? So there was like an adoption, instead of adoption papers, on a pole match, whatever. Because that's wrestling. So, yeah, I really don't know how they're going to play it. Perhaps Kane will develop a third personality. Who knows? Worse than the other two. Perhaps he'll come back as the Christmas Monster. Or Isaac Yankem. Yeah, Isaac Yankem would probably be worse. Christmas Monster I probably wouldn't be all that angry about. Especially since it's, approaching Christmas. I mean, it's still Halloween yet, but, it's Christmas adjacent, I guess. Well, it's Thanksgiving adjacent for them. We just had Thanksgiving a couple of weeks ago here in Canada. Some of us, I think, are still asleep. But anyway, so I see Seth Rollins defending his title, and then LOL. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. This is Fat Boy Mark Jabroni. You were listening to Ring Rust. Oh, now the 3.5. CHMR-FM. Well, I guess now I know why the track wasn't done playing. So, you got 2 matches left, both Hell in a Cell matches, so I'm just going to talk about them, and then I'll play a couple of songs, and then it's into the 3-way dance-off for this week. I think you might like it. If you're, I don't know, actually, how to quantify, how to preview it without giving too much away, so I'll just do it when it comes up, and here we go. So, we got one match that's most likely going to be the main event. If they're going to do one match after the other, one's going to be the last match, and that's the main event. I'm guessing The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar will probably be the main event, because it's The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Even one of those two guys would probably make it the main event, and so both of them, I kind of have to assume it's going to be the main event. But, so, I kind of anticipate, actually, Brock Lesnar's probably going to win that. I don't know how The Undertaker could win it, because he's already been thrashed, really, by Brock Lesnar. He came close to not losing, but, as I enjoy saying whenever anyone asks me, it's like, well, what were you doing when Brock Lesnar beat the streak? I was like, well, I was reaching down for my drink because I was at hashtag Cineplex City, because, Suplex City and Cineplex, and it's, anyway. They're not showing it this weekend, unfortunately. I'm trying to get together with a friend and see it with him, but anyway. It's like, okay, well, I was reaching for my drink. I looked, okay, well, it doesn't look like the match is going to end anytime soon. I looked away, looked down, grabbed my drink, took a sip of it, laid it back down, heard ding, 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 looked up, and it's like, what? What happened? And then silence. In an arena of thousands of people, there was silence. That's how big a deal it was for the streak to end. There was silence, absolute silence. So I looked up and said all these shocked expressions, and then the next thing I see, 21-1. It's like, oh, would have been nice if I could have been watching when that happened instead of having some of my drink. I wasn't disappointed, well, maybe a little disappointed. Maybe not the right word, I guess, but I understood why it happened because The Undertaker's a big MMA fan. He's a big UFC fan. Brock Lesnar, aside from being in WWE, is famous for being UFC champion. Who do you think The Undertaker wanted to beat his streak? Doesn't matter whether or not Brock Lesnar's there on a weekly basis or a monthly basis or a whatever basis, an annual basis. Undertaker was probably given the final say in who was going to break his streak. That makes sense. Think about it. With his longevity with the company, his tenure with the company, his respect within the company, he was given the last say, final say in who defeated his streak. How about John Cena? Maybe in 5 or 6 years. How about Dolph Ziggler? Who? How about Adrian Neville? How about Paul Bearer? No, wait, that's not going to work. How about, and then just kept, and they probably kept throwing names at him, and he said, well, how about Brock Lesnar? Nah, he doesn't work for us. And then, the whole thing anyway, so, I can see Brock Lesnar winning that one. I don't know how The Undertaker can win. He might, because anybody can win. Like they say, everybody is 3 seconds away from beating somebody else in wrestling. So, well, as somebody says, I'm sure some variation of that exists. Anyway, so in the other match is Roman Reigns taking on Bray Wyatt, also in a Hell in a Cell. And I anticipate, even though Roman Reigns can, quote, look strong, unquote, without winning the match. If he gives all he's got and Bray Wyatt still beats him, how does he look weak? I mean, was he throwing sissy punches? No, he wasn't. What are you doing? I'm trying to look strong. You're nerd punching me. What are you doing? Oh, I need to lie down. Pass me my inhaler. So, yeah, how humorous. I don't know how entertaining it would be necessarily. One shot kind of thing, I guess. Like, oh, look, it's a nerd wrestling. And he's losing his breath. And, yeah, it's kind of funny. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbranology TV. We got some good news out of NXT, actually. Apparently Tyler Breeze is on his way up to the main roster. He debuted on SmackDown. Also, James Storm, formerly of TNA Impact Wrestling, debuted on NXT just this week. Nia Jax is on her way to debuting. She's going to be on sometime in November, I think, mid-November. And something that's maybe a possibility is AJ Styles possibly heading to NXT. Would be kind of interesting, I think. Not that I think a lot of people are, for lack of a better term, butthurt about the fact that all these old guys are going to NXT. Isn't NXT supposed to be for young guys? Like, well, yeah, young guys who get better as wrestlers by wrestling older guys, more experienced wrestlers. That's why Rhino's there. That's why Samoa Joe was there. That's why, quite frankly, I think that's why Finn Balor is there. Even though he's not technically in and of himself an old guy, really. Neither is Asuka, Kenna, Hansel. She's an established star in Japan. She's in her 30s, I think. Close to mid-30s, 34, 35, something like that. Not old by any stretch of the imagination. Old for wrestling, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Old for any sport, really. Not just wrestling, but for any sport. Once you get past a certain age, you don't bounce back as readily from injuries and whatnot, and just takes a toll on you. So, anyway, it would be interesting to say AJ Styles taking on Finn Balor, or Tyler Breeze even, to taking on anybody. I mean, they had Jushin Thunder Liger a few months ago on TakeOver, taking on Tyler Breeze. Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni. And subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni. That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR-FM.